The modern workforce is changing faster than ever, but most men are still operating with an outdated mindset. The employee mentality that worked for our fathers and grandfathers is now the quickest path to financial insecurity and stagnation. In this video, we're breaking down why the entrepreneurial mindset isn't just for business owners. It's essential for every man who wants to thrive in today's economy. This isn't about quitting your job. It's about revolutionizing how you approach your career and finances. Hit that like button and subscribe if you're ready to stop trading time for money and start building real value. Let's get into it. 1. Job security is an illusion. The employment contract that defined previous generations has been shattered. Corporate loyalty is dead, with the average company now laying off 8% of its workforce every 5 years regardless of performance. Companies that promised lifetime employment now conduct routine workforce optimizations without warning. Meanwhile, men who built their entire identity around being a loyal employee find themselves discarded after decades of service. The harsh truth? Your employer is a business entity designed to maximize profit, not provide for your future. Security comes from your own ability to create value, not from an employment contract. 2. The time for money trap. The fundamental flaw in employee thinking is the direct exchange of time for money. This creates an absolute ceiling on your earning potential since you can't work more than 24 hours daily. Even high-earning professionals like doctors and lawyers ultimately hit income plateaus because of this constraint. Entrepreneurial thinking breaks this connection by focusing on value creation instead of hours worked. When your income is tied to results rather than time invested, your earning potential becomes virtually unlimited. 3. Your skills are depreciating assets. In employee mode, men often master a single skill set, then ride it for decades. This worked when industries evolved slowly, but today's skills have an increasingly short shelf life. Technical skills now become obsolete within 2 to 5 years, creating a dangerous vulnerability for specialists. Entrepreneurs, by contrast, continuously develop diverse, transferable abilities, sales, marketing, negotiation, leadership, that appreciate over time regardless of industry changes. They remain valuable by evolving with the market rather than being made obsolete by it. 4. The network effect multiplier. Employees typically build vertical networks limited to their own industry and hierarchy. Entrepreneurial thinkers develop horizontal networks that span multiple industries, creating exponentially more opportunities. These diverse connections become an invaluable asset that generates opportunities regardless of economic conditions. Studies show that men with entrepreneurial networking approaches receive 3.7 times more high-value opportunities than those with employee-style networking, even when they hold the same job titles and qualifications. 5. Problems versus opportunities perspective. The key difference between employee and entrepreneurial mindsets lies in how they approach challenges. Employees often view problems as obstacles to be avoided or escalated to someone else for resolution. Their primary focus is on following procedures and ensuring that issues do not disrupt their work or the business operations. This approach may lead to frustration, as challenges are seen as burdens that hinder progress. On the other hand, entrepreneurial thinkers see problems as opportunities. They recognize that every problem reflects an unmet market need, which presents an opportunity to create value. Instead of being discouraged by challenges, entrepreneurs embrace them as a way to innovate, solve problems, and drive business growth. This shift in perspective turns everyday frustrations into potential avenues for advancement, allowing entrepreneurs to turn obstacles into stepping stones for success. 6. Ownership over contribution. Employee thinking is centered around contributing to the goals and vision of someone else, typically in an organization or company. Employees are focused on fulfilling their specific role within a predefined structure, receiving a fixed paycheck for their work. Their work primarily supports the objectives of their employer, and they do not directly benefit from the growth or long-term success of the business beyond their salary. In contrast, entrepreneurial thinking emphasizes ownership. Entrepreneurs prioritize owning ideas, processes, outcomes, and the equity within their ventures. This mindset encourages them to create systems, businesses, or assets they control. Instead of merely following instructions, entrepreneurial thinkers build value that grows over time. This can be through owning a business, developing intellectual property, or creating a personal brand. Unlike employees who rely on a paycheck, entrepreneurs focus on creating equity, assets, or investments that appreciate and generate income long-term, even when they are not actively working. Their focus is on building sustainable wealth that increases in value, providing future financial freedom and growth, rather than short-term earnings from labor. 7. Risk management versus risk avoidance. Employee mentality treats risk as something to be avoided at all costs, creating the illusion of safety while actually increasing vulnerability through dependency. Entrepreneurial thinking approaches risk as something to be strategically managed and leveraged. This fundamental difference explains why some men remain perpetually trapped in declining industries, while others thrive during economic upheaval. The entrepreneur doesn't take wild risks. He takes calculated ones with asymmetric upside and controlled downside. 8. Multiple income streams. The average millionaire has 7 distinct income streams, not because they're greedy, but because they understand the fundamental instability of depending on a single source of income. Employee thinking puts all your financial eggs in one basket. Entrepreneurial thinking drives you to develop diverse revenue sources, your primary career, side businesses, investments, intellectual property, and other assets. Each new stream not only increases your total income, but dramatically reduces your financial vulnerability. 9. The initiative gap. Perhaps the most telling difference between these mindsets is the initiative gap. Employees wait for instructions, opportunities, and advancement. They need permission. Entrepreneurial thinkers identify needs and fill them without being asked. They create opportunities rather than waiting for them to appear. This proactive approach doesn't just accelerate career advancement, it fundamentally changes how others perceive your value. Leaders and decision-makers invariably favor and reward those who solve problems without needing to be directed. 10. Playing infinite versus finite games. Employee thinking treats careers as finite games with clear endpoints, promotions, retirement, specific salary targets. Entrepreneurial thinking approaches professional life as an infinite game focused on continued growth, adaptation, and value creation. This distinction creates profoundly different results over time. Finite players optimize for short-term rewards and eventually stagnate. Infinite players optimize for long-term development and compound their advantages year after year, creating exponentially greater success over a lifetime. The shift from employee to entrepreneurial thinking doesn't happen overnight. It requires intentionally challenging deeply ingrained beliefs about work, value, security, and your own capabilities. But this mental transformation is now essential for men who want to thrive rather than merely survive in an economy that increasingly rewards value creation over time spent. The greatest risk in today's world isn't taking chances. It's continuing to think like an employee in an economy that no longer rewards that mindset. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, subscribe to our channel before you go. Thanks for watching.